one of the important things to do in any class is get the material. Now, it's kind of interesting that a lot of students will just not. This is not a English class. It's not a history class. It's not an astronomy class or a biology class. It's a computer class. And you say, well, what's the difference? Why are you saying that? Well, in computers, there's always a section within that technology where you're learning hands-on stuff. You're doing hands-on stuff. The only class I have that does not use a text is CMP 100 or CIS 170, same course. That one, I don't have a text. That's all my material. I made it, I wrote it, I put it out there, put all the links to it. Because you can't get a good text for that, this has hands-on material that you have to do, that has labs that are designed and you have to go through that have tests are designed and you have to go through that. And if you don't have the material, you're not going to pass the class. That's all there is to it. So I want to show you, how do I get the material? Now, if you were in CMP 103, you should have this material already, because I kind of mentioned in the CMP 103 that if you're a computer student or you're a business student, you probably ought to get Cengage Unlimited for a longer time. Now, this video is going to be a little different than I do in CMP 103, because you should be good with computers, at least somewhat, if you're taking this course. So I did a search for Cengage Unlimited. That's all you have to do, is do a search for Cengage Unlimited, just like you see on the screen, and go there. Once you're to their website, basically they're going to say, hey, this is all the course material you need. And then there's a couple of options, and you don't want the cheap one. I'm sorry. I wish you could get the cheap one, but you can't. And the reason why is because this gives you access to all their textbooks. Awesome. But it doesn't give you access to MindTap, which is what you're going to be using. You're going to be using MindTap in order to do a lot of the assignments and to do all the tests. And so you need this version. So a 4-month term, if you just want to get through the class, is $124. That's why I say in 103 to all the computer students, gosh, I would at least get a 12 months. Right. If you know you're going to be one of our computer majors, let me just say, we use this in 113. I use it in the server class. So securing servers, it's used in there. I have it as some material you can look at in 250. Lydia uses it for Access. Lydia uses it for Excel. I think she's switching her HTML class to use it. Use it in 201, and I teach the 201 class. And there's another one I'm missing. What we've tried to do is make this as cheap as possible for you, because number one, I know that information that you have to get for the classes that surround certifications is more expensive, even though it's not as expensive as some of the business texts or nursing texts or any of that. We're really still a lot cheaper than them. It's still expensive. So if you know you're one of our students, then get a 2-year term. Yes, it's $249, but that's going to cover like 6 classes. And before that, it was, I mean, just on the low end, 100 per class. You would have spent $600 on the course material that the Cengage Unlimited is replacing. And that's because when we use this, right, we have access to all their books, and we can say, use that for that one. And that means that when you get it, you have access to all their books. And it also includes at least 4 free hard copy textbook rentals. All you got to do is pay $10. So if you're one of those people that's like, I hate seeing this in this form on the computer and it just really bugs me, you can just pay a little more money and get a hard copy for that time of that class and send it back. Also, along those lines, you can also just print material from within there. So if you're just have certain things that you're having a struggling time looking at on the screen and getting what they're talking about, you can just print that your own on pages. Just, do that. So this is a buying process. And again, if you were in 103, you already have a Cengage account, and you just need to go in there and either pay some more to get more longer service, or you're already set up because you already paid for a year or 2 years and it's all done, and you don't have to do it again. You don't have to pay that again unless it's run out. In any case, if you haven't, So that's where we'll start in this video. If you haven't done that, then you have to hit buy now. And then once you go to that screen, it's an online purchase option. Now, this is not what should show up because I'm actually logged in. And so it's logging everything in. And so I will sign out. It's like, hey, you're logged in. So we'll just take you there. So we'll log out and then I'll hit buy now. Right. And then this is what comes up. It's like, okay, you want to buy? If you have a Cengage account, already had it, then you use whatever you use. Like a lot of times people will, this is not my code, by the way, but whatever their monster mail is at monsters.eac.edu, right? And then you just log in with whatever that was. Next, it's going to ask you for the password and you're in. I try to tell students, at least initially, right? Because you can keep Cengage and move on to another university or whatever. And if they're using it, you just use the same account. So you can change your email later. I tell people that when you go through signing up, creating an account, you probably should use the same thing that you're using for your Canvas, or in other words, for EAC. And the reason why is because you should kind of understand this as a technology student. When you log in to Canvas that you see here on the screen, you type that in, right? Okay, here I am. Here's my monster ID. Here's what I need to do. Here's my password. Boom. And it'll let you into Canvas. Now, when we are taking a look at linking something from here, right? These are going to take me to Cengage. What's going to happen is it's going to take your Canvas login and push it over to Cengage. And if it matches a Cengage login, it just lets you in. And so it does help you with a step there, that if you are creating an account, that you go ahead and make it the same. It doesn't stop you. You can make it different. And then as you click a link within Canvas, it goes over and tries to send over your Canvas login. It doesn't work, right? Because you don't have that on Cengage, and Cengage then says login. Then once you log in, it'll match that up. So you don't have to do it again. You won't have to do it every single time. So it does help. It's not that vital. The underlying concepts here are realizing that Cengage is different than Canvas. Canvas is the shell that you get to all your material on. Cengage is the textbook product. So that's how you're accessing the assignments and the material is in Cengage. And so both of those have to have a login. Yours is automatically created over here on Canvas as part of your Gila Hank and everything else you do, and it flows right over to all your Outlook stuff, everything. That's not automatically created on Cengage. That's created when you purchase the material. And it's up to you to tell it what you want, right? So you do have to hit student, otherwise you'll have to verify you're an instructor. And then at this point, you start putting stuff in. I'm just going to pick one, right? It's a standard setup. It's a standard one. And so at this point, right, Eastern Arizona, right? So you may say EAC, but you don't want to put EAC. And we have different campuses, right? There are different campuses. So you'd say, I'm in Thatcher. That's where you're at. And so you select it. And then you make your account. And yeah, then you pay for them. Now, I will tell you that as you go through this process, there is a little place that'll say, do you want, how do they put it? Free access for 14 days. And so you can get free access for 14 days. And then in that 14 days, it's going to go, you need to pay. So lots of people will do that. They're like, I need free access. And then, I can't do any work. If you're going to get the free access and you know that you're not going to be paying in 14 days, you better blow through some of this, right? And by that, I mean, really work hard so that you can get a month and a half worth of work done, so that you know that it's going to be a month before you pay for it. And I just honestly don't get that. I understand the poor part. I totally get that. But I will have students, I'm not joking, come to Eastern Arizona College and they'll go out and buy that English book, and they have to buy that math book because they're going to fail. And then in the stuff they want to learn, they'll go months and not have it yet. And I'm like, and they're like, I don't have it yet, so please don't drop me. And then they just struggle to even pass the class because they waned halfway through the course to get it. I am sorry that this is an more expensive part of you getting a degree in technology, but it is technology. And we need to try to use the latest inventions so that you're trained when you go out into the world, right? It's part of that scenario. And on top of that, the honest truth is if you had decided not on a general ed degree, but to go into nursing and go into engineering, or other textbooks are way more expensive than what ours are. It's just a part of it, and I hate it. I wish I could do it all for free. I wish I could just say, here's all the stuff. But the free stuff that's out there when you're talking about technology is not that good. I know I've tried to use it in my classes and I'm like, this is not teaching anybody anything. So it's pretty crappy. But anyway, that's how you get the material. You have to start with Cengage Unlimited and then go from there. Now, the other way you can do it, and this is probably just going to log me in, but you can click any one of these links because that link is going to try to log you into Cengage. And so if you don't have a login, at that point, it's going to say, hey, you need to log in here or buy it. That's what you need to do. See, it automatically logged me in because I already have it. I don't want to participate in your feedback. Anyway, so that's the other way that you can, start the process of getting it. I would probably just search for Cengage Unlimited, click it, and then make sure, no, you can't get the cheap one. You have to get the one that's got MindTap. And the great thing is that you do have access to all of their books at that point. And so if you have another Cengage class, you don't have to buy Cengage twice. You have access to everything that's Cengage. And we're really trying to push that across campus and say, and I know there's somebody in biology or math that's using it, but you definitely want to check. If they say, I'm using Cengage, or you look at the textbook, a physical textbook they have, and it's Cengage, that means you'll have free access to it just by paying. I know you don't have free access to it, but when you pay for that unlimited, you get any textbook you want, any textbook in their library that you want. So it's helpful in that other way that if you're taking another class and they're not using Cengage, you can look up another textbook that might help you. But if that other class is using Cengage, it's all right there at your fingertips. You don't have to go and buy that book. It's part of your Cengage Unlimited. So if you have questions, notify me as soon as possible because, right, this is the stuff that slows you down when you get started because you don't have the material you need.